We are back with the Buffalonian Podcast. I'm Joe Cali. As always, I'm joined by none other than Dom Loss. And Dom, it's been a minute. Busy schedules got in the way for a little bit there, but we're back in action. How have things been?
Good. Really struggling with our D&D campaign, but other than that,
Yeah. Dungeons and Dragons in the offseason. Maybe we'll get something going with that in the future. Who knows? But without further ado, we'll dive in here. The clear and present thing off the top is the Bandits winning their third straight NLL championship. Both you and I were in attendance of that game. And you went to the parade the following week after on Friday, right?
Friday.
Yeah, on the Friday. So
I also went to the Paralympics.
You went to the Paralympics.
Yeah, Canada versus Czechia.
How was that?
It was interesting. I think it was definitely it's one of those things in life where, like, it's all right, I saw it once, I don't need to see it. Like, if you ever go to, like...
Let's just check it off the list of sporting events. Yeah, just check it off the list of
sporting events. Mm-hmm. Like, Actually, I would want to go to another tennis tournament, so that's a bad example. But, I don't know. I saw Ohtani in Cleveland. Yes. First pitch home run.
Yes.
It's like, all right, now that I've seen Ohtani.
And a first pitch home run from Ohtani.
I know. Worth the price of admission, one pitch in the game. Now it's like, all right, I don't that's off the bucket list. I don't need to, like, do that again.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was similar. It was like, it was cool to see, like, the sleds and how they got around like they had the two sticks.
Yes.
And then it was cool, but it was also a little slow.
Was it low scoring? Or was it just a hockey score?
It was like 3-0, 4-0. I can't remember the score off the top of my head, but it was like 22-6 in shots. Like, it was kind of it's tough at times, like, when they're all, like, together to, like, get loose and get a shot off. So
I mean, not as free moving as a NHL.
Yeah, it's not like they could like. It's also, like, hard because it's like they can't really like hockey players can kind of, like, it's like basketball sometimes where you can, like, box someone out and
throw an elbow or something.
Yeah, it's hard to do that when obviously on the sled. So, but it was really, I mean, it's unique. It definitely, like, I was impressed because it's like, man, these dudes must have, like, some superhuman upper body strength to be able to, like, can't constantly have to, like, get the sticks to get the momentum to get the speed. It's like,
yeah,
I wouldn't want to, like, my shoulders just kind of a burning thing about it.
Yeah, I didn't know you did that. That definitely is a check off the list. And speaking of check off the list, we saw a three-peat, as I mentioned.
Check that one off the list.
You can check that off a list.
Saw a Buffalo sports team win in person too. I didn't see the Bandits the first 2 years.
No, we went to game 1 of the Colorado series where they lost.
Yes.
And that's where we got introduced to the Bandits. Mm-hmm. That was our first Bandit land experience, which was crazy. And then all the other ones I have not.
We really got into it the next year. Yeah.
Yeah. So in this capacity, though, I mean, I guess I'll dive into my end of it first, and then you can go into your end in the parade as well. But this capacity of it, I was working, so that was the interesting part of it for me. Got to go down on the floor after the game with the fellas, and they were passing around blue lights like immediately after, right? Like
water.
Yeah, water. we'll say that for the viewing the listening audience this week, but. The energy was off the charts. The trophy presentation. I'm glad they upgraded from that, like, wooden trophy.
Yeah.
Now it's the full, like, whatever metal it is. It's probably stainless steel.
I would assume it's that. Yeah.
I don't think the NLL's at a platinum silver trophy yet or anything like that.
No.
They're getting there. They might. Who knows?
Slowly but surely with their TV deals.
Yeah, the TV deals, and there could be a lockout coming up soon.
Really?
Yeah, after next season, I think that contract's up. I forget the exact name for whatever their contract is, the Player Association or whatever it is.
CBA.
CBA, that's exactly what it is. It's coming up. It's almost expired. So, and look at what Buffalo's doing, selling out numerous times, and they're expanding, so they might ask for a little more money. Who knows? You might get a little bit of a lockout action in the NLL, but not before the Bandits got their three-peat. And who knows? Now everyone's already saying, is it going to be a four-peat? I don't know, man. It's too early for that. Let's dial off of that already.
Once you get to 3, I think it's just kind of like, all right, 4P would be cool, but like a 3P just...
The 3... Well, technically, you can't even call it a 3P.
Yeah, because of Pat Riley.
Because Pat Riley, you're absolutely right.
The trifecta, I should have worn... Well, it's not like we're on camera anyways. I have a trifecta shirt.
Oh, yeah. So they're technically the back-to-back-to-back-to-back NLL champions.
Back-to-back-to-back, yeah.
Back-to-back-to-back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3. That's it. But yeah, being on the field, I got to interview a couple of the players, and...
Who was your favorite interview? Like, who was the best interview?
Well, we're a podcast. I don't really have to censor it. Nanakoke dropped his annual fuck in the interview, right? Like, he always goes that far. The FCC's worst nightmare, as I like to call him. Matt Vince was pretty insightful. It's his second time in a three-peat. Mm-hmm. He did with the Rochester now the Halifax team. So before they switched.
Went back, yeah.
And then we also got Chase Fraser, the ESPN highlight reel sports center behind the back. He can't score anything unless it's some flashy goal.
He was terrible. I said this
He was horrific.
He was bad all game.
Yes.
And I turned to my brother when we were watching the game, and I go, because he literally just dropped a pass, and the ball's in the corner. I'm like, dude, Fraser's been terrible all game.
Mm-hmm.
They throw it back to him in front, and he just whips it behind the back of the course. I'm like, oh my god, this dude like redeemed himself in like one play.
Yep. And then he was on Pat McAfee all week.
I know it's like the baseball player who's like 0 for 3 through strikeouts, made an error in the field, like a base running mistake.
Yeah.
And then it's casually just hits like a big time home run.
The grand slam to take the lead. Yeah.
It's like, oh my, okay.
All sins are forgiven at that point.
Yes.
But yeah, so those three guys, and then just being on the floor for that was pretty surreal. Yeah, I don't know. How was it viewing from the stands? Because we're up in the quiet press box. There was not a lot
sick.
It was Bandland was bumping.
Very loud. The rally towels were waving, other than we used them as bibs because we were going to a feast. So
yes,
it was a little interesting for the first quarter, and then you thought they were gonna pull away in the second quarter, but then Saskatchewan kind of battled back to make it 7-6 at halftime, and then they got boat raced in the second half.
It looked, the first half was reminiscent of game 1 and game 2, almost identical. Like
it was like 6-6.
Both went to 6-6, 6-6, and then 7-6. Yeah, and then the second half they just talk about a curb stomping. Like they just ran with that and just piled it on them, which I thought, so our other media people up top, we were like, all right, if it's close, if it's in a couple goals, we can't go down there yet. We were down there like 10. I texted you. I told you we were down there with like 10 minutes left, like waiting to go because you know it's going to be an absolute win. So it's interesting to see them do that and actually see a Buffalo team do that, because the other two haven't quite gotten to a championship yet. Well, they've gotten two. Have not been able to win a championship.
Not in our
yet.
lifetime.
Not in our lifetimes.
Closest they've been is the finals.
We'll see if the Bills can do it in their
conference.
final season. But just sitting in that arena, though, I'd be remiss if I didn't think about playoff hockey in that, or the Bills making a Super Bowl trip, right? Like an NLL team is selling out. And everybody really discovered the Bandits, I feel like, in the past decade. I know there's true Bandit fans, don't get me wrong. But in the Sabres' absence, those are the events to look forward to, other than like concerts at the KeyBank Center. It's like sports fans in this time. There's no hockey around here.
Yeah, I mean, there's no hockey. The Bills haven't hosted the AFC Championship game in over 30 years now. Like they've hosted playoff games, but hasn't been to the magnitude of when you're going to the Super Bowl. So I don't know. That could happen. I mean, listen.
Could happen.
Could happen.
The final year at Ralph Wilson at
least the Bills are given a competitive run. The Sabres, on the other hand, are not. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about the Bandits to know if they could keep their team together. Like I
think they're all. I mean, the core three are.
Does Vince come back? And
Vince is the only question mark, I think, because Burns, Smith, and like Ian McKay, they're all in their like early 30s. Like they're gonna end up retiring. You know what I'm saying?
I just don't know how like who's free agents and how they could. I don't know enough to be honest. Luxury tax or I assume the Bandits are the one team probably in the league that could pay the luxury tax.
I would assume
because
so.
They sell out.
Yeah.
But
they pull in the most gross revenue.
So I'd assume that would be the case, but yeah, hopefully they continue to go on. Other than the unfortunate aspect of them is I was interested in potentially getting. Well, I'll roast myself here for a second. I don't have a current Buffalo sports player jersey.
Oh, you do not. That's right.
Because I have Jeff Skinner jersey, who, good for him, scored his first playoff goal. Now 3 wins away from having his name on the trophy.
Mm-hmm.
Another former.
That is crazy.
But and then my other one, my Bills one, was Edmonds, and he hasn't been on the team.
Tremaine.
He hasn't been on the team in 2 years. So
you do have a framed Josh Allen jersey. That
I guess that
kind
of half counts.
Yeah, it's
sure,
like
but I don't.
You
never,
own it.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that, but I don't have one that I could wear around. And I was like, oh, maybe I should get a Bandits one. It costs $207.
Oh, they hiked that price up.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? No, I'm not doing that. Like,
the only Bandits jersey I'd get are the Heritage ones. That's what,
now,
and they didn't even wear them. Nanacoke.
Yeah, I would.
Or McKay. McKay is really
he's risen.
Oh yeah.
I would almost get Matt Vince because I crapped on him so much, and now he kind of came through that. I kind of feel like I have to do it.
I know.
Pat Peachin, who was on the pod last time. His guy is the milkman.
Yeah, Connor Farrell. That makes so much sense. It's
the
not even funny.
face-off guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want to be one of those. I hate being one of those guys. This is gonna sound bad, but like, not that you aren't a bandwagon fan because we've been kind of a little bit bandwagon Bandits fans because we knew about them, but we weren't like. But like, you don't want to be like a bandwagon player fan where it's like, yeah, I got a Josh Allen jersey.
Yeah.
Or yeah, I got a Rasmussen jersey. That's my jersey.
I mean,
it's like,
yeah,
it's cool to have the top guy, but it's like, you show a little personality by getting someone who's not, the number one.
Yeah.
I say that from a guy that used to have like a Jack Eichel jersey and all that. But
well,
like,
I mean, I look at it, right? I have the Josh Allen jersey, but my Josh Allen jersey's like the on-field one. Like, it's different.
Sure, like I have a Josh Allen jersey that's signed, but like, like honestly, I was thinking about this now. This is a June pod, so we could get a little sidetracked here.
We can sidetrack. There's not much to talk about. So
of the 3 sports teams, I'm not counting the Bisons because they don't sell individual jerseys, and why would you want them? Sorry, love the Bisons. Great.
I would only want a Bisons jersey if it had Jabba the Hutt on it. If they sold that one,
I
would
would
have bought
consider
it.
getting a Buster jersey, but that's for other reasons. But of the 3, I guess there's a soccer team coming, but I'm not counting them because I have no idea.
Yeah.
Of the 3 major sports, well, I guess not even NL is a major, but whatever, I'm counting it. I don't care if
It's
they
national, international.
Bandits, Bills, Sabres. Which jersey would you get of the 3?
To be honest with you,
okay, you have like Tuck, ones that you don't own. I'll make it different
I have
for
Tuck
you.
and Skinner.
I'll make it different for you because I know you have jerseys that.
And I have an Eichel jersey that has tape over it with Tuck, Krebs, and then all the picks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have that one.
Oh, my God.
Remember I wore that a couple times?
You did.
Yeah.
No, I remember
the
that.
navy blue.
That was duct tape. Yeah, I remember
that. So I have that one. Honestly, for just wearing around the city, right, in a way, I'd probably go Sabres. I feel like that's more all year round. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, not in summer, but like Buffalo, you only get summer 2 months out of the year.
Yeah, I would probably do.
The Sabres you could wear with anything. Like, honestly, I'd probably buy a green Sabres jersey. The St. Patrick's Day one.
That's gross.
Just never owned one. I own the yellow Buffa
you're
slug.
You're not wearing that around. That's.
I would wear that.
You would wear it like once a year for St. Patrick's Day.
Maybe, but like
you just killed your own point.
Okay, probably a black and red I would wear frequently.
Sure.
I don't know if I'd get a name on the back though, because they're all my age. I feel like that. Side question.
Okay, no. That has not gotten to the level yet.
Yeah, it has. When they're our age, I wouldn't wear a college jersey with like my buddy's name on the back. You know?
Well, they're not our buddies.
Yeah, but
they don't even know we exist.
I don't know. Like,
that's fair. We have gotten to a little bit of the age. Other than
like NFL, we haven't. With Hairston, maybe, right? But like, why would?
Yeah.
But like, our favorite players still. Allen's years older than us.
All I'm saying is Josh is born in the best month of the year, May.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would say the dragon, as I used to say it.
The slug?
No, I thought the goat heads were.
I'm a slug guy. I like the Buffalo
You are a slug guy, but I honestly, if I was I would rock a Sabres. If I was gonna get a jersey from the 3 teams, I already said Matt Vince for the Bandits. Bills, I would probably get now that he's signed long term. I would get Groot.
That's a good
just
one
because it's like he's not. Honestly, I don't know how far he'd be on. We should probably do a list of the ranking of Bills players.
We could totally do that. We have plenty of offseason.
But
that'd be a good idea.
He's not like. Obviously, he's not 1.
No.
And he's probably like maybe 5.
Greg Russo?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's not. And then Sabres, I have no idea. That's my thing with the Sabres. I'd
get a
no
blank
idea.
one as of right now. I'd get a blank one.
I would almost get Benson. Actually, no, I lied. I would get Benson.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'd get a blank one.
Zach
I like the
Benson's
blank
kinda my
jerseys
guy.
because they're timeless. Like, they never go out. Technically, they don't ever go out.
It's like, outside of Thompson and Darlene, like, what other... I would get Benson. So, outside of those 3, like, I like McLeod, but I wouldn't want to get a McLeod jersey.
I mean,
I like Power, but I wouldn't get a Power jersey.
I have Tuck. I like Alex
The
Tuck.
thing of Tuck, though, is he's a free agent after next year. I don't want to get his jersey and have to spend 1 year with the team and be like, you're the reason he left. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm not that superstitious, but I'm a little stitious.
I'm not superstitious, just a little stitious.
But, like, that's my thing. Is like, I don't, like, Benson I would get.
Yeah.
Maybe they made, like, a trade for, like, that's a little weird, but, like, if they made a trade for, like, a big player, hopefully in this offseason, as we're about to talk about, maybe I would get their jersey. But going to the Sabres, I do have to admit though, yeah, the age thing is getting a little. I've noticed that.
We're on the fringe.
I've now noticed it.
Like we're at that mark. Like next year's, if they get a superstar in the next 2 years, no.
You never own their jersey.
Nope. I think we're at that point.
I don't know. My dad at least still gets jerseys, and he's, now in his 60s. I think it's weird. It's weird for like a couple of years, and then you just kind of get over it.
Yeah.
But I admit that it is.
You know what I mean? Like you hit that window where not all, like everybody's got a Jim Kelly jersey, right? Everybody has a Josh Allen jersey. Like those, I feel like are the exception. You know what I mean? The superstars are timeless.
I don't know. I just said I was going to get a Zach Benson jersey, and I think Zach Benson isn't even 20 years old.
No, he's like 19.
Yeah, so I think he's like 3 or 4 years younger than I am. So I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just like lying to myself. But yeah, Jarmo
Kekalainen. That's how it's pronounced now. The Sabres will probably come out and be like, it's actually Kekalainen. But honestly, it's one of those names where it's just I feel like it's going to be Kekalainen.
Jarmo, congratulations. You know what? Little golf clap for the Sabres. They got it done.
They got their insurance policy for Kevyn Adams. That's wonderful.
Listen, they got it done. I think they deserve some credit because it definitely was a situation where you didn't know they're actually going to fill that role. They actually did. They actually got a guy that has been, a GM of a small market like Columbus,
and
similar to the Sabres, and he's
overseen the most successful stint of Blue Jackets hockey.
And he's not afraid to make a big trade, which is what they need.
He's not.
So I mean, Seth Jones, they traded for Seth Jones when he was there. Panarin, so he's done fairly well, and obviously it was a little bumpy at the end, but. Oh, it's also a guy that, again, I know you're saying that's a joke about Kevyn Adams, but they do end up firing him. Like, they know that they have a guy that could go, that has credibility.
Yep, as a general manager in the NHL.
And that matters because when you're talking to other GMs or other organizations, other agents, players, like,
makes a difference.
I think it will make a difference.
It adds a little bit of leverage in your corner.
Yeah,
that
it gives
you wouldn't
a
have.
little respect.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very happy about that. The Sabres, don't do a lot of things right, but I think they did that.
I think that was a good pick.
Very well, and then we're just kind of
we're in limbo at this point.
We're kind of just waiting for this. The NHL really doesn't like when people make moves during the final. Obviously, the final started last night. Edmonton won in overtime and a good comeback.
OT in the first game of the final.
Who are you rooting for, by the way?
Edmonton.
Really?
I want to see it flip from last year.
I'm rooting for Florida. I just don't want a Canadian team to win.
Yeah, I get it. I understand.
I just think it would be funny if they keep losing.
I understand. I had this conversation.
I do like. I say it's a hot take. I like McDavid. I do like McDavid.
Mm-hmm. Like that's. You
can't make me hate McDavid.
And like you said, there's a former Buffalo Sabre that's
and Jeff.
Yeah, like Jeff Skinner. Like, come on, I got his jersey. You have his jersey.
I know.
Sam Reinhart's gotten it. All right. Kyle Okposo got it. It's now. What's his face? Jeff Skinner's name. Winner, Skinner dinner.
It's his moment to shine.
It's his moment to get his name on the cup after leaving the Sabres. It's a prophecy at this point that once you leave the Sabres organization, your name in the next 1 to 2 seasons is on the cup.
What you're saying is when the Sabres make the trade with the Stars for Jason Robertson, then the Stars will then win the Stanley Cup.
Yes, exactly. And Dylan Cousins next year, watch out.
No, okay, don't give my dad any hope.
Ottawa Senators, Stanley Cup final next season.
I'm trying to think of the... Oh, yeah, Connor... If the Edmonton wins the cup, they have obviously a guy named Connor and a player named Trent. Those first names have never been on the cup.
Really?
And if the Panthers win Seth Jones, Seth has never been the first name on the cup.
So there's a couple first-time names on there.
I know. There's a couple. Put that up the, interesting thing to look at. But
yeah,
back where we were. Yeah, I mean, listen, the Sabres again, kind of just waiting for that to end because hopefully they have some big moves in store. I think Byram is going to be gone. Mm-hmm. Paterka is kind of... What do you think the odds are that Paterka gets traded?
I'd say 60-40.
I was going to say 55-45.
Yeah, like 60-40. Right around there.
I would have said like 75-25 when the season ended, but there's just a lot of smoke. I think...
There's a lot of smoke, especially, we did get a picture of the city tweeted out a while ago, and that nothing ever got acted upon. So that might be like a delayed reaction, delayed penalty for Kevin Weeks or whatever his name is.
I hated that. But I think there's a lot of talk about, Jason Robertson from the Dallas is one of the few teams that have absolutely no cap space pretty much. Robertson's a really good winger, really good on offense, would be easily the best defensive forward they have on the team, even how good Zach Benson or McLeod have been. probably would be the best forward on the team.
Yeah.
To be honest, he'd probably even be better than Tage all around. And he's a guy that has making $7.8 million next year, and then he's an RFA, but he's pretty much could walk in a year to UFA, and he's going to be costing $10 million. And the Stars just made the big trade for Mikko Rantanen, gave him $12 million a year. So the thought process is they made that move thinking that they were going to move Robertson in the cap crunch, and they could trade him to the Sabres, and the Sabres could get some type of prospect, a 9th overall pick in Paterka, and they just bridge Paterka to lower his cap for the next couple of years while they get their cap situation figured out. And honestly, I think it makes some sense for the Sabres. I think JJ, obviously moving on from Bayern makes a lot of sense because it's like, why would you pay him? You're already paying Power, who is better than him, and you're already paying Dowling, who's obviously better than him.
Yeah.
At that point, why are you paying a third defenseman that much money, and he doesn't really fit your team? JJ, I think, is just fascinating. I mean, where do you stand? Do you want him sign? Do you want him? I'll give you 3 options: sign to a bridge deal, sign long term, or traded. And put them in order of what, like 1 to 2 to 3.
Long term is 3.
I completely agree.
I
don't want.
Do not lock him in long term. If you can get something for him, I would say get rid of him and then bridge deals option 2. That's where I'm kind of at. Where are you?
My concern was I think the ideal situation obviously would be to improve upon him. Like,
yes, you want to trade him for a return. That's
like if the Robertson deal was, and it was like, all right, we want JJ. It'd be like, I'm not saying no because JJ's included. Because I think JJ's a good player. I think the problem I have with JJ is that he's another one of these type of one-way wingers. And I just I don't know. I don't need another one.
Another two-way player.
And I think he had a very high on ice shooting percentage like the team did, and they got saved. So I think some of his numbers may be a little inflated. So I think he's a good player. And
sell high.
I think he has some serious value, and he's also an RFA. So again, you could sell him to a team that's a little bit maybe wants to trade a bigger salary out to maybe bridge him. And I just keep going back to Dallas, but. Yeah, so I think that makes a lot of sense because if you can improve upon him for another forward, because I do think they need another forward. It's kind of like, to me, it's like, I think one of 2 moves I really want to see happen outside of the Byram thing is I either want them to get Jason Robertson or Elias Pettersson, and I want them to move on from JJ Paterka and the Robertson deal or try and flip Josh Norris in the Pettersson deal.
Yep. Because
if you could flip Josh Norris' $8 million contract to Pettersson's $11 million contract, add a prospect in the 9th overall pick.
That's a pretty good move.
That's a massive win.
Yeah.
And the same thing of JJ. JJ's probably if you approach him for bridge, he's going to be unhappy. I think he wants a long-term deal. I don't want to pay him $7 to $8 million. No,
you'd be wasting that money at that point because I think even if they do a long-term deal, there's probably like a cousin situation. There's going to be a trade at some point, and you're still you might end up paying some of that. So I'm kind of with you. I do think though. Stubbornly enough, I think they're going to want to see Norris on ice healthy. I think that's
why I think the Robertson deal makes sense for Dallas and makes sense for Buffalo.
Yeah,
but
getting a little excited over there, tapping the mic.
My thing is this, though, with the Pettersson one is that I think a lot of people will be all over Jason Robertson. I think that price will be really high. I think Pettersson, when we talked about that in our Instagram chat, someone mentioned that, they need to retain $3 million off his contract.
Oh, yeah.
They need to attach the Mattias Samuelsson contract. I'm like, I don't think Mattias Samuelsson has any type of value. I know with the cap going up or whatever, people are like, maybe you could get something for him because the cap and it will just be like a third pair money. I was like, okay, whatever. Dude plays 50 games if that. I would say if I'm able to put Josh Norris in the Pettersson trade, I don't need to retain Jack. I don't need to attach Samuelsson. I'm getting rid of $8 million in salary in Norris.
Yeah, absolutely.
For his $11 million, and maybe I'll add maybe they want Byram instead of Byram and Cousins for Pettersson. We just replaced Cousins with Norris, and then you would be saving money in the long term because obviously Byram wants a big contract extension, probably in the $7 to $8 million, and at that point you'd save a couple $1 million, and you'd get a center, which I think could potentially be an underrated need. Again, is Tage Thompson a center or a wing? And if you go he's a wing, are you trusting Kulik to be the 1C? I know he had a decent sample size, but for him to be a 1C the whole year at age 20, and then Josh Norris to be your second line center who we don't know can play 40 games, let alone 82.
Well, that's the thing, and like I said, stubbornly, I think they want to see him healthy.
I agree with you.
And I think Kevin Adams is going to want to see if he gets a return on investment there, where I think they're going to be a little selfish on like, oh, we're not gonna deal Josh Norris just yet.
We'll see though.
But I don't know. It is interesting. Again, like you said, we're kind of in limbo until the final is over. At this rate, it could be 7 games. It looked competitive in game 1, so you never know.
They won 7 last year.
Yeah,
so.
they won 7 last year, so I don't know. I'm excited just for solid hockey.
Well, it should be big this year is that the scouting combine, I think it's going to be really important because they decentralized the draft.
You're right.
Like the draft used to be every single team was at the draft. I don't know why they got rid of that, by the way. I guess teams complain because of cost, whatever, losers. But you could have all your conversations there. Now it's the draft. Now it's the combine where every team's going to be there. I think GMs are going to be having a lot more conversations at the scouting combine. So I'm intrigued. Obviously, it's in Buffalo, so I'm intrigued to see.
That'll be cool.
What kind of conversations? Maybe some trades? I don't know.
Trade could be made at the scouting combine. That could be interesting. But we'll be all over that as things happen and as the draft approaches. Got to see the end of the final first, though. But in other news, Josh Allen, that was it for Sabres, right? I'm trying to think. There's really nothing else that happened. I was trying to make sure before. Josh Allen is a newlywed and luckily escaped the paparazzi on his honeymoon. Couldn't do that at his own wedding, which was unfortunate. TMZ took that one over. Congratulations to them, but also, like, I'm not a fan of that. Like, TMZ, breaching and, like, posting that, like, without their permission. I get it. One-party states, I completely understand, as that is part of my job. I don't have to tell you if I'm recording you, right, or anything like that, taking your photograph. I just think that's
it's scummy.
It's scummy, yeah. It's grimy.
I'm not pretending
to
say I didn't look at all the photos.
No, I was intrigued.
I consumed the content.
Like Larry David was there, the creator of Seinfeld. Like, what was going on there? You know, like
I do that. I mean, they clearly wanted to be private, but. And, Deion Dawkins blabbed the...
Yeah, Deion Dawkins on the Rich Eisen show, right?
Fumbled the ball, yeah.
Yeah,
it was either that or like the NFL Network scheduling date, whatever.
But yeah, Josh Allen's married. They're on their honeymoon right now.
Missed OTAs, and that is a big red flag.
Yeah, you know what? He's no better than Stephon Diggs at this point, doing pink cocaine on a yacht.
Oh, God.
We're not going to open that up. But I got to ask, have you seen the New England sports radio clips?
Yes.
They were going crazy for a minute there. And then he looks really good at OTAs, actually, because he was there.
Whatever.
So, I don't know. Cardi B,
OTAs,
Stephon Diggs.
Elijah Moore, maybe more of a player.
Yeah.
than we anticipated. So, I think that's exciting news.
That is.
We're seeing all the rookies kind of in action. We won't know anything really until training camp, which Joey Bosa will hopefully be ready for day one. Because
you better hope so.
He's banged up.
His reputation is coming to fruition in front of our eyes at this point. Everyone's like, "Oh, he's an injury risk." My brother who's a Chargers fan is like, "Oh, this guy's an injury risk. You're lucky if he's going to make it to the start of the season." What's he do? He pulls his calf in the OTAs, and then he's out until training camp, which is wonderful, but
we'll see. But
who knows?
Yeah, I think it's a very exciting. We're under 100 days now till the start of the Bills season.
Final season at Highmark Stadium.
The first ever Bills Super Bowl season.
Yes, first ever Super Bowl season. Also got a tip on the rivalry game. It's going to be against the Dolphins. Prime Video's marketing it as a rivalry game.
Is it, or do they always do that?
No.
I know what you're talking about.
That was new. That was different.
I know what post they sent, and everyone was like, "Oh," because it was like Jim Kelly and Dan Marino, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, is this the rivalry game?"
They've never marketed a game as a rivalry before. That was the first time, because I went back and looked at their previous post for Bills Dolphins, and they've said in the caption,
I feel like
the rivalry continues, but never on the actual graphic was it rivalry.
Is that looking too far into it, though?
What'd you say?
Is that looking too far into it?
It could be a reach.
No, come on.
But at the same time,
it could be grasping for those straws.
Mm-hmm. But when are we going to know? That's my question.
Listen, they're going to be... they'll probably drop that 2 weeks from now when they're going to talk about... Listen,
they're going to have to show up at...
This Aaron Rodgers thing gets dropped today. They're going to wait 2 weeks. They pushed it back. They're going to drop it tomorrow on a Friday. Mm-hmm. Now Aaron Rodgers happened. They go, let's push it back 2 weeks.
Right. Now we need to reevaluate the Steelers schedule and see what rivalry game... technically, are they in the rivalry? No, they're not. AFC East and NFC
West.
AFC
but
West.
But it's like... Okay, now we could wait 2 weeks, and then when the cycle slow again, we'll drop the red.
Yeah.
Like that's what they do, and it's king stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
and if you just in case you missed it, what Dom's alluding to, the prophecy came true in that Aaron Rodgers is
Another
not.
prophecy.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers is not off the Bills' schedule. He's playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers this upcoming season. There was some interview a few months ago with one of the Steelers.
Cam Hayward.
Cam Hayward talking about like I'm not going on a darkness retreat with him or something like that. Like if he wants to come here, he can come here. And the deal ended up getting done. So it's rather intriguing to see how that goes. And
too bad George Pickens got traded. That would have been interesting.
Could have been an interesting pair-up.
A-Rod and George
Fantasy
Pickens
value for George Pickens could have gone up.
Well, it did go up.
Technically, it did go to Dallas, but Dakota.
Do you even own any Pittsburgh guys? No, I don't.
I don't own any in our dynasty league. No, I don't own any Pittsburgh guys. But
honestly, I might have downgraded them. With A-Rod. I don't know. I think
Achilles boy. But also, Pittsburgh's front office isn't doing things based off of their son's Madden game.
Listen,
so
they had to do it. They had to do it because
was Will Howard going to be your starter? Like,
nice try that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Will Howard guy. I'm a believer, but
I'm not.
I think not necessarily a believer. I to have a bit like that's my thing because the John Gruden clip of him just gassing him up, being like, "Oh, you're built just like Josh Allen." You ever seen that on his QB room?
Play anything like
I'm like, he doesn't do anything like he doesn't have a cannon like Josh Allen does. Like, yeah, he'll run. He had an 81-yard touchdown, but what are you going to do at that point? Yeah. So Aaron Rodgers is now a Steeler, so Bills could not rid him off the schedule, and I'm going to be interested to see how that goes.
That's now 4 straight years the Bills to play Aaron Rodgers. They played him in his last year in Green Bay in 22.
That was a gross game to watch.
That ended the Bills' 22 season apparently because whatever the hell happened in halftime. They weren't the same team ever again.
Nope.
No one knows what happened. 23 obviously tears his Achilles against the Bills.
They still lose that game.
24 last year they get swept by the Bills, and then 25 he's playing for the Steelers, and the Buffalo goes to Pittsburgh. So.
We'll see if they can still if he can get a winning record for his last season and get that 9-8 action going or something. How the Steelers do.
I know. It's great.
Mike Tomlin's voodoo magic to stay above 500 by one game a season.
Yeah,
so
then get creamed in the wild card. Right?
Yeah, to just get stomped by Buffalo. Who knows? But I have a fun tidbit here as the train rolls by. I don't know if you're going to pick that up.
I thought that was you doing that.
No, that is the train. You get some Let's Go Buffaloes during football season right on East River off the Niagara River in Tonawanda. You hear the train going by. But I came across this little tidbit. If you say Buffalo 8 times, it's a complete sentence, a proper sentence. Buffalo, 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 Buffalo.
Did you count those out to make sure there were 8?
Yep, I did with my fingers. You didn't see that. So if you simplify it and break it down, it's a proper noun, noun, proper noun, noun, verb, verb, proper noun, noun. So the 3 definitions of Buffalo. Proper noun is the city. The noun is the animal, the bison. As Pat McAfee, did you see that discrepancy they had?
No.
They're like, I've been calling a buffalo. You're telling me that it's the bison? Like, yes. Like, they did that for like 15 minutes. And then the verb means to bully or intimidate. So if you say it 8 times in a row, you're technically speaking a complete sentence with the same word.
We're going to Buffalo Stash and Ginge tonight.
Buffalo, 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 Buffalo,
Yeah.
Buffalo, Buffalo, Buffalo. Yes. But I don't know. That might be the episode title. Just 8 buffaloes in a row and see if we can.
No, Buffalo 8X.
Buffalo times 8.
Yeah.
Yes. Buffalo to the 8th power.
Well,
that would actually be. No, that would be 8 buffaloes. Because it's technically 8.
yeah.
Math is fun. I don't do math in public for
that reason.
that
alone.
reason. So I don't get got anywhere trying to do a math sequence. But yes, Buffalo 8 times in a sentence is this proper sentence. So if you didn't know that,
No, you do.
yeah, now you do, and that's a party trick right there. You go somewhere, you drop that Buffalo, 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 Buffalo,
Pass
Buffalo.
it on.
Pass it on. But is that it for the Buffalonian this week? I'm trying to think.
I mean, I can't believe you just dropped that knowledge on me. It's kind of shell shocked.
Statistician Ginge is
It's
in
got
for
me.
it.
It's got Peachin, who was on last episode.
We got a lot of compliments on that episode.
He has this big book of dad jokes.
That might go in there.
So now I think I had to say one. This might be a weekly occurrence of a dad
Oh,
joke
God.
on the pod.
Is this appropriate, or am I gonna have to mark this explicit?
You said the F-bomb.
I did.
So.
No, I do have to mark it explicit. Thank you. Sorry, I was just quoting Teo Kananico.
What do you see when the fog clears LA?
the fog clears Los Angeles, like L.A.
Mm-hmm.
Wild? No, I'm not saying that. Never mind. What is it?
UCLA.
On that note, that's going to do it for this edition. I almost said wildfires. That would have been vile. That's going to do it for this edition.
I think you can see that past with the fog there.
Yeah. That's going to do it for this edition of the Buffalonian Podcast. I'm Joe Cali. As always, I'm joined by none other than Dom Lawson. Dom, how do we always end these, buddy?
Go Bills, baby.
Go Bills.